Lady helps me get my helmet off, and I see my foot right here.
Holy cow.
Heel on the outside, toes facing towards me. And here's the drugs. I look down at my leg and I go, well, they make great prosthetics. That's what I thought.
Holy cow.
I didn't know this.
Who gave me a podcast? This is Jeff Allen. Welcome to my podcast.
Hey, everybody, this is Jeff Allen at the Who Gave Jeff Allen a Podcast. Still has not been answered. We are looking all over 6 billion human beings on the planet. We can't figure out who gave me a podcast, but we will. I want to mention I'll be in Columbia, Tennessee, Mule House on November 22nd, and then all over the country into next year. We have, over 90 dates already booked for next year. And we're going to, the Love and Laughter Tour starts in January through February. So if you haven't got your tickets, why? Anyway, and you can find every date at jeffallencomedy.com. I don't even know I had to read that, but I can remember my website. I don't have much going on in my life, but I can remember my website. I am looking forward to this. Carolyn has been talking about Josh for quite a while here, and just sitting off camera talking to you, you seem like a pleasant soul. So I think we're going to have a good time. You have lived both sides of the life. I'll just read it. I was going to try to memorize this. You have lived both sides of life, and this I can relate to. You were trapped in addiction, headed toward death. He encountered Christ in a way that didn't just clean him up, it resurrected him. His story is gritty, raw, and miraculous. And I'll be the judge of that. Today, Josh, you channel your intensity. I like that. There's just something about addicts that,
Yep, it's true.
When we rechannel ourselves, it actually can go, anyway, this is what really got, I didn't know this until this morning. I'm sure she told me, but I don't listen to Carolyn all the time. She jabbers on, and it's like the Charlie Brown teacher.
You mean I'm a woman?
Yeah. Oh, of trading in my car, and there's all kinds of nicks and things on it. I want to get that done. Where you built a reputation for excellence in automotive restoration and custom refinishing. But more importantly, your life is proof that God doesn't just pull a man out of the pit. He gives him a mission.
That's right.
And I love that. I love the way you phrase that. You're a father, an entrepreneur, and determined to show the world that Jesus just doesn't rehabilitate, he resurrects. And I love that as well. So welcome.
Thank you.
To our podcast. Thank you for being willing to sit with someone you've never met for 12 minits, because that's how long we run. Yeah, and then it goes beyond that. I always kind of just say 12. That way, if I don't like the interview, we can bail in 12, and they don't get their feelings hurt.
I'm counting down.
We'll be here for a while. I guess I don't. There's so much in this that intrigues me. I don't know if I should start out with let's start out where we began in off air, and that's you grew up in Vegas.
Yeah, I was born and raised in Vegas. It's funny, most of my family's from the South. My mom's side of the family's from my South. My dad's family's from the East. And my mom's side of the family had actually moved to Las Vegas, my great-grandparents, to retire, a.k.a. sit and wait to die. Like, let's just be real. I mean, that's what it was. It was getting two lazy boy recliners, retiring and sitting and watching soaps. So they made the transition to Las Vegas and drugged the rest of the family. And
die with them.
Yeah, to die with them. Luckily, we didn't.
Right.
We didn't. We actually moved. But
what year was that?
So, oh gosh, that they went to Vegas? I would say this was probably late 70s, early 80s.
Okay, so describe Vegas from the 70s, because I started going in the 80s.
Okay.
We were talking a little bit about that. Hendersonville and Vegas, there was a huge gap, like 30 miles.
Yeah, it was massive. I remember being a kid and going to Henderson to see someone, and it was like this forever journey to get there.
Yeah.
And then, fast forward 20 years, I mean, there was no differentiation
Yeah, the only
between
thing
Vegas
worth
and
out there
Henderson.
was the dam.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
Yeah, we'd
people-
go out to, to
and Lake
Hoover
Mead,
Dam,
you know.
Lake Mead. Yeah. And so, it used to be you had the center of Las Vegas and you had, some of the suburbs and then you had Henderson way over here and that was it.
Wasn't it a cool drive in, though, coming over the hill?
Oh, it's beautiful.
And seeing the lights laid out and all the jackrabbits with their ears up on the side of the road.
Yeah.
I remember that, yeah. So you got there, you were born there.
Yeah, I was born there. Both my brother and I were born there and raised there. Spent up until I was 24 and then I moved to Tennessee. But how we grew up there was it was normal for us.
Right.
Then post leaving Las Vegas and coming someplace totally different, I realized there was nothing normal about how we grew up. Yeah, but it was normal
you
for
know
us.
what you know.
Yeah.
It's like my kids grew up with a mother that showed dogs and a father that did comedy. So they think, I think the concept of a father that goes to work and comes home every night was foreign to them until they got older and realized, we have two freaks for parents.
Yeah,
You know?
yeah. But growing up there was really interesting because, you are in Sin City.
Right.
I mean, you're surrounded with prostitution, with mafia activity, gangs, drugs, addiction of all forms in its highest manner, and there it's
So you're
catered
exposed to that it's in schools or?
No, we actually, my parents struggled a lot when we were young and they put us in private school to kind of shield us from that. And we also grew up in the church. And so we didn't know anything outside of church and private school and our little neighborhood. I mean, and we grew up in a rough area, so we fought a lot. That's where I actually loved to fight, was having to. And as we grew up, the older we got, the more aware we became of our surroundings, as one does when they get older. But we didn't really have any palpable experience of what was going on around us because of how shielded we were.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
So what was your drug of choice?
My drug of choice was cocaine.
Cocaine. So,
And-
so alcohol. So when did you start using cocaine?
I started using cocaine when I was 21.
21. Wow.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, 21. And it happened from drinking and having fun. I was a rowdy guy. I mean, I was racing motorcycles. I was racing cars. I was involved with some organized crime stuff, actually running cocaine
Oh, okay.
and doing so on a motorcycle really fast at night, going from one town to another town. I'm not going to talk too much about that, but when you have a kilo of cocaine on your back,
Yeah.
and you're on a motorcycle doing 190 miles an hour for 100 miles in the dark under moonlight, things get intense. So I was around this culture.
Right. At 190 miles an hour, a mosquito hits you in the eye. You're knocked off the bike.
Yeah, well, thankfully I'm in a full leather suit, riding.
Yeah.
But throughout being a wild guy,
Well, maybe we can get a sponsor here. What was the bike? What brand?
Suzuki GSXR
Suzuki
1000.
Okay,
Yeah,
okay.
yeah.
So
With a lot of work
If you
done
want to go
to it.
190 with a kilo on your back, Suzuki.
This is true. Brought to you by Suzuki.
Yeah, exactly.
But yeah, so I was drinking a lot and partying, just kind of, I call it my college years. I never went to college. I actually dropped out of high school to start a business. But those were my college years, a lot of drinking. And then it got to the point to where, I had to go to work. And so
So you do have to function. Yeah.
Mhm. And one night we were really drunk and I had to go to work the next day. And my guard was completely obliterated. And somebody brought out a bag of cocaine and he said, if you want to go to work, this is the only way that you're going to go to work.
Wow. Yeah.
So what did I do? I tried it. Immediately, crisp and clear.
Yeah.
I went to work all day and I said, wow, this is the greatest thing I've ever tried in my life.
That's exactly what my response was.
Mhm.
Because I was having a hard time talking. And when you talk for a living, so anyway, that first line is what you chase, isn't it?
It is.
It's never the same, is
No,
it?
no.
Yeah.
It's never the same. And that's the problem with it, is it's a chase that you'll never experience that ever again.
Right.
But what's so crazy about
So when
that
you
is
quit, did you have trouble getting off of alcohol, or you still drink?
I drink
Okay.
socially.
Okay.
I don't have a drinking problem. I never
That
did.
fascinates me.
Never
Really
did.
does.
I can go to a bar and I can have, one or two drinks and
Yeah.
totally fine. I never had
And you
that
don't
draw.
crave the cocaine or
No, not anymore. Actually,
Yeah.
how I
That's
got
amazing.
off,
That is a gift of grace. That really is.
it took a long time, but how I got off is the most interesting
Oh.
part of the whole story.
Yeah. Well,
That's the most interesting part because you go from this kid that grew up in Vegas being shielded, by what was going on in the world, by my parents and by the church community that we were in. I was also involved with youth ministries when I was young. And I mean, we even had revival stuff going on at our high school. It was pretty amazing what God was doing in our lives back then, and how I made the transition from this prim and proper, the future is bright young man to drinking and running around with motorcycle gangs and blasting cocaine. That's a really stark contrast.
yeah, but was it quick or was it a gradual thing? In hindsight, do you look back and see that these seeds were being planted, the desire to do this?
No,
Or is it one of those you just wake up one day and go, holy cow,
No,
how
was
did I
an
get
event.
here?
It was an event. I was dating my high school sweetheart. All I ever wanted was to get married and have a big family. That's all I wanted. I wanted a big family. I wanted a business. I wanted to raise my kids in church and just do family life
Kind of
because that's
relive
what I grew up with.
what you grew up with, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Makes sense.
And I was with my high school sweetheart. We experienced a pretty brutal breakup. We weren't allowed to talk to each other, and I was absolutely crushed, completely crushed. And so I had some drinks. I felt better. I had some more drinks, felt even better. And then that started the cycle because it started from a place of really deep pain. Your first big heartache
Right.
is really hard to deal with, especially when that's the only thing that I ever wanted.
Yeah, most addicts, when they get into why, it begins with some deep wound. A lot of us are wounded before we even remember where those wounds come from.
Yeah.
But a wound is a wound. And then when you salve it with something, you go, wow, I felt, for me, my first drinks made me gregarious. I was kind of shy and, I was obnoxious with my friends, but around other people. And that first couple of drinks, I became like personable. Now, other people would say an obnoxious twit, but I was personable.
Yeah.
So anyway, again, you chase that, and you think, but it comes from a place of woundedness.
Yeah, it was woundedness again, and because it happened within the church and was kind of at the behest of the church that split us and brought us, told us that we couldn't talk to each other, I got really angry.
Yeah.
And so I went in the complete opposite direction because that provided something for me to ease that pain with and provided an escape.
Oh, I get that.
And so then it became the perpetual escape.
Right. Yeah, it's an easy thing, especially Vegas. My gosh.
Oh, yeah. And not only that, but I didn't really understand that world, and I'm naturally adventurous.
Right.
And so all of a sudden, now the veil has been removed from what I wasn't able to see, and then all the shiny things, especially in Vegas.
I was going to say, Vegas, that's also encouraged.
Yeah.
And laughed.
Yeah,
and,
absolutely. And so now there was this new world to explore that I knew nothing about. And that's what I did.
Yeah. We like the unknown. The devil gets into that and says, oh, no, you haven't seen it all yet. And then especially with the cocaine. I remember when I did meth for the first time, back in the early 80s, it wasn't as ubiquitous as it is today. And I remember there was a dental student in Pittsburgh working as a waiter at a club, and he gave me meth. And I remember thinking, now I found it. The cocaine wasn't doing what it was before, but the meth was just a whole. I was playing basketball. I was playing basketball at 1 a.m. and just going. I mean, I literally, boy, for someone who lacks confidence and for someone who doesn't have much self-esteem, that was elevated. I was all of a sudden cocky, and I was like, I can do this. I can do whatever.
Well, you're on top of the world.
That's it.
Yeah,
That was it.
there's no pain. The brain is functioning at a level that it shouldn't function at. It should not function that
Like
way.
high fuel.
Rocket fuel. You can process so fast, and it's so deceptive.
Right.
But it does. I mean, you feel like you're king of the world.
Yeah, that's it. I remember saying that. I was shooting pool, and I'm a terrible pool player. And I was walking around the table chalking and going, I'm king of
I did the same thing. Bowling. I would go and bowl for 7 hours.
Oh, my God.
I would go to the bowling alley at 11 o'clock at a casino, and I would bowl till 6 o'clock in the morning, and then I would go to work.
It's funny you say that. Somebody said, why'd you quit drinking? And I said, you can only bowl so many frames. We would go to these all-night bowling alleys at 2 in the morning.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and bowl. That's so funny you say that. I thought I didn't even want to mention it.
I got really good at bowling, though. I did get really good at bowling.
Of all the things I did while I was drinking, bowling is like the one I'm most embarrassed about.
Yeah, I don't really bowl
That's
anymore.
a joke, by the way. All you bowlers that are watching this, don't send me emails telling me, So anyway, okay. So when did you get into running kilos? Obviously, you didn't do that coming out of high school.
No, that happened out of necessity. My work and my career, I lost my business that I had started. I was on the straight and narrow for a little while, toting the line, and then I just couldn't sustain it with addiction, as you know. You can only hold it together so long, and then everything starts to fall apart.
Yeah, I think of those plate spinners. They got like 8 plates going, and
And so partying became, I needed more dope. And cocaine, let's be real, cocaine's expensive.
Yes, it is.
And I had lost my business, so now I didn't have this steady flow of income that I could just spend willy-nilly. I had to find other ways. Yeah. And so then it started, hey, can you run this over to this location? Yeah, sure. No problem. I'll give you a ball. Oh, great.
Yeah.
And so I would go run something. And then I was good at running, very good at running. And then it was, you ride these motorcycles and you obviously have a death wish. You'll do 200 plus miles an hour just for fun. And then it was, I can pay all of my bills.
Was that in the job description?
The unsaid
we need someone who
description.
has a death wish.
Yeah. I mean, you have to be kind of nuts to do that.
Yeah.
And so one thing led to another. It just escalated as addiction escalates.
Yes.
And so then I got a little bit of the taste of the money.
Yeah. Well, that's the dopamine.
Yep.
If they mapped your brain, it would have been seared with dopamine.
Now I have unlimited access to cocaine. I've got money. I've got guns. I've got all the things that, a typical alpha guy would like. He's doing well. He has, material possessions. He's just got unlimited resources. I'm in back rooms and backstage with people.
Right.
We'll leave it there. People. When you're in the dope business and you're a personable guy that people like, generally you're the one that ends up going in there to deliver and hang out. Yeah. So you get access to a lot of people that you would normally never have access to.
Right.
And you get to see behind the scenes of politics, music, movie, business. Right. And that was really intriguing for me.
And the veil's back.
Yeah, you have access. All of a sudden now you go from a regular guy on the street that if you were to see me when I was coming down and shivering and shaking and praying, saying, God, I promise I won't do it again. Just don't let me die tonight.
Right.
If you were to see that guy versus the guy that's in the back room with some, world-renowned band having a blast hanging out, those are two very different people.
Right.
And so it was just one step up, one step up, one step up. And so I loved it and I chased it. And it got to the point to where I would do anything that gave me access to that.
Yeah, that's funny. That lyric of Ben Fuller just popped into my head. Black Sheep. How's that heart of stone? It's not so hard when you're alone. Crying tears you wish no one would see. But the good news is Jesus will never let you be. But that's what people don't see is waking up in the morning
Mhm.
and then just begging, especially because you had a relationship
Yeah.
with Christ
And that's
in your life, and that Holy Spirit just doesn't leave you. You know,
no, he doesn't. And the craziest part is even during this entire time, God was still tugging
right?
at my heart. There were a lot of things that I couldn't do, that I couldn't engage with, because my conscience didn't totally leave. And so a lot of the things that I was exposed to drove me deeper into addiction and deeper into substance, because I had to numb it out, because God wouldn't let my heart go completely cold.
Right.
And that was him, in my opinion, saying, I'm not letting you go.
Right.
You're mine. I'm not letting you go.
What a beautiful picture, But it's also one of those as a parent, because I've said to parents that have addicted, because they'll come to me after the show and they'll say, if I buy your book and I give this to my son, and I go, just understand, the streets are full of somebody's children. And at some point, the most loving parent on the planet has to go, I can't do it anymore. I'm going to let you go.
Mm-hmm.
And the same with our Father in heaven. You read Romans 1. At some point, that was my biggest fear when I read the Bible, was that in Romans 1 where God said, all right, I'm going to turn you over to your desires. This is, I've done everything I can to woo you to me, and now I'm just going to let you go and be yourself. This is what you've chosen. That scared me to death, because I know how dark my heart can be, and I know how my proclivities are. So that was my prayer. Just don't let me go. When I'm in the midst of all of this, please don't let me go. But so that's great that you can look at that period and know that your Heavenly Father was still there going, look, I'm calling you.
Mm-hmm.
I'm calling you. So where did you learn to shoot long range? Or was that just a hobby you started and just realized you had a talent for it?
Yeah, it was a hobby that I started when I moved to Tennessee 18 years ago. And I just really liked shooting rifles. And the problem is I like to do really rowdy things, but there's also this intellectual side that has to be stimulated as well. And so I got into long range shooting, and again, it was very similar. Addicts.
So you've never done it?
Never done it before.
Okay, so
Never done it before.
Was there a moment in the midst of all of this where you go, one, I'm good, and two, I really like this? Because addicts, when we find things we like, we dive in with both feet.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
It was a struggle for a while. I did love it, but I was struggling and struggling and struggling. And I knew if I just stay at this long enough, either I'm going to find out I can't do it, or I'm going to figure it out eventually.
Wow.
And so it was a few years in, I got hooked up with some people that I didn't know at the time were world record holders for long-range shooting, and I just thought they were some crazy old rednecks.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And so I got hooked up with those guys, and they're teaching me, and then all of a sudden, things started clicking in my mind, and I realized, wow, I'm really good at this, and I should pursue this. So that led me into small local competition, and then more local competition, and to where I started competing on a national level. And it's very expensive if you're paying for it.
Well, that's what I was going to get to. It's not a hobby. It's like, golf is not cheap either if you want to get good at it.
No, it's not.
So is that why you started? Now you're an entrepreneur.
Mm-hmm.
So when you moved here 18 years ago, how long have you been clean?
I've been clean for 19 years.
Okay, so you moved here clean.
Mm-hmm.
So kind of a new beginning.
Yeah, one year out, and I moved here. And so clean for 19 years.
Now, was it like, because when I left Boston, I told my wife, I said, I absolutely love Boston, but if I'm going to stay sober, I got to get out of here.
That was very much Vegas. I relapsed 1 year in.
Yeah.
And that was rough. I'm lucky I didn't die.
Yeah.
I'm really lucky I didn't die, because after a day and a half on cocaine, there's only so much you can do. So then other things come out, baking soda, water, and you're figuring out how to keep it going. And so Thank God I didn't die that night.
Yeah.
But yeah, I knew I have to leave here. I have to get out of here. If not, I'm just going to continue to stumble. I'm going to continue to fall.
So did you get clean? What was the catalyst, the bottom? I guess that's the word I'm looking for. What was the one thing that said, okay, I can't do this anymore?
The bottom was that I couldn't sustain the pace that I was running at. I ended up being 126 pounds.
Oh my God.
I'm 175 right now. So I was 126 pounds. Everything was completely falling apart.
Hey, everybody, look at that body and knock 50 pounds off it. The human body is an amazing mechanism.
It was bad. I looked like a skeleton. My face looked like a skull.
Yeah.
A lot of facial features were gone. I was at the absolute bottom.
What was your family saying? I mean, did you have interactions with them, or did you?
I actually shielded my family from a lot of this, particularly because of, the mafia and organized crime ties. Anytime you're involved with that.
If the mafia existed, you would have had some ties to it.
Yeah, if it did. If it did. And so, I had gotten to this point to where I couldn't function anymore. The people that I was partying with, the people that I was doing stuff with, couldn't have me around because of how rough I was.
Isn't that even, if there's one thing all men want in life is respect.
Mm-hmm.
And when you look around to the people closest to you, and that was me. I mean, I got, they tied my shoelaces together. I stood up in a bar and fell on my face, and they're laughing at me and everything. And I'm walking home, and that was the first bottom I hit. Was like, I'm a dirtbag, and nobody has any respect. I had no self-respect, and then you look around. So that's huge, man.
Yeah. So I'm at bottom, and I'm actually at this place. I'm coming down, and I'm coming down so hard. I had been going for 3 days. I'd back to back to back, bender after bender after bender. It was almost 2 weeks of benders with 14 hours of sleep and then getting up and going on another bender again. And then at the very bottom, I'm sitting by myself. I don't have any more blow left. I'm taking straws that I find and taking a razor blade and cutting the straws in half and trying to scrape anything that I may have used to snort, or taking picture frames off the walls. I mean, it was that bad.
Wow.
And I'm sitting there at the bottom.
Did you start hallucinating at any point?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep, I did. And one of my favorite bands at the time was a post-hardcore band called Under Oath. And there's this track on there that they sing, and it's a rendition of Amazing Grace. And it comes on, and I start weeping.
Wow.
I realize at that moment that I'm screwed.
Yeah.
I'm screwed. I'm at the very bottom. I can't get out. And I said a prayer.
God uses everybody. A metal band?
A metal band.
With a version of Amazing Grace.
Mm-hmm.
And hits you right there. That's, if you would have heard, the greatest singer in the world, Sinatra singing, it wouldn't have hit you.
Mm-mm.
No,
not at all.
Yeah.
And a couple hours earlier, my mom had called me. I put a lot of distance between my parents, which I had
You had to.
I just had to.
Yeah.
And she called me. She just said, I wanted to tell you that I love you. That's it.
Wow.
I said, you don't need anything? She said, no. Just want to tell you I love you.
Yeah.
As I'm at the lowest, a couple hours later, that track comes on. And I said this prayer, and it was a cry from hell. It might as well have been a guttural cry from hell. And my prayer was, God, I don't know how to get out. I can't get out. I'm helpless. I'm done. I'm done with this. I don't care what it takes. give me a second chance.
Yeah.
And I just cried. And I'm fighting, trying not to have a heart attack. My heart's going into AFib, ripping super high and then dropping really low, in and out of hot shower because I'm so cold. I'm literally getting blisters on my back standing in the shower because I couldn't warm up. And then an hour later, I'm in a cold shower because I'm so hot. I'm changing the sheets on the bed because it's soaking wet. My clothes are soaking wet. I can't drink anything because my throat, everything's so inflamed. I'm a wreck. I thought that night, I'm gonna die.
Yeah.
And this was this was not the first time that I thought I was gonna die.
Right.
But I was sure that this is my last day on earth.
Yeah.
And
did you call anybody? Or?
I didn't. I didn't have the faculty to do so.
Yeah, my first time I called my father and said, I need help. I can't stop. I emptied a half gallon of vodka the night before, and that's when they tied my shoelaces together and stuff. And I need help. It was funny because I made 9 months without alcohol. I was doing cocaine the whole time I'm going to AA. I don't recommend that, by the way. Highly do not recommend that. But anyway, I got clean from alcohol for 9 months. I knew what that felt like. So when I used again, I started drinking again. I knew if I ever went back, I'd stay. And I was out for 5 more years. But to do it on your own, that's, first of all, that's, boy, that is the disease, is the isolationism. Even, I don't know about you, but I could sit in a crowded bar and be alone.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So that night happened. Eventually, I fell asleep. I slept for almost 2 days.
I was going to say,
I slept for almost 2 days.
A slumber.
I woke up. I had this desire that was so deep that I have to stop. I have to stop. And so then the struggle began. And the struggle wasn't long.
No, the beast.
Now I'm contending with the beast that I can't win against.
Right.
And just as the addiction, or I guess you could say, the problem or the predicament that you get in is you have these intense, terrible lows until the chemical factory and the brain says, hey,
we can fix this.
Everything will be all right. And so...
Isn't it like there's a voice here?
It is.
That's why I named it the beast. The beast always lies, and the beast needs to be fed. That's all. Just feed me, and I'll shut up.
Yeah. And so that's what I did. Yeah. I fed him. I said, okay, here's a little bit more. We can tone this back, and we can get control of this and be okay.
Right.
And so...
Isn't that the lie? That's like, well, we'll be fine. Well, we won't do it as bad as we did it before. We just need to level off. Yeah. And once I get level, I'll be fine.
Yeah. Instead of a ball a day, we'll go down to 2 grams, and then we'll go down to 1 gram. And then we're only going to go on a bender if we see our good friends again. Yeah. That stupid rationale starts to come into play.
My favorite was, I read a thing that said, if you want to know if you're an alcoholic, and you have to do this for 30 straight days, take 2 drinks or 3, pick a number, 2 or 3. And if you can do that every day for 30 days, you're not an alcoholic. Within a day, I was up to 4. And then by day 4, I was up to 12. If I could just stick with 12, I'll be fine. And I think I did it for 15 days. I got up to my 30-some beers in a day. And I realized, you know what? This is a stupid test. no root in reality. Yeah. But isn't that funny, though? It is. Yeah. You can... The human being's mind in the ability to rationalize such self-destructive behavior. If you don't believe in the devil, you have not had that going on inside. I mean,
that's very true.
Yeah,
that's very true.
Yeah, don't tell me there's no such thing as demons. When you got one just as loud as it's sitting in the room, chirping, and basically you know there's a rational part of you that knows, if I do this, I'm going to die.
Yeah.
I'm going to die. And the beast is going, we can work this out. That's amazing.
Yeah.
So how many days detox did you do on your own? And
Well,
how often did you change the sheets?
I
guess?
tried. Oh, the sheet changes were, I mean, it was every day.
Yeah.
I mean, I was having to wash sheets every day. And then sometimes I would just lay down on the tile floor. And I'd just sleep on the tile floor. And then I would get up and wipe up the sweat. However, 2 weeks in to me trying, a buddy calls me. He's like, hey, I want you to come by. I'm also on my way to go do some more things to earn some more money. So I jump on my motorcycle. I'm getting ready to leave the house. And I just said, oh, well, you know what? I've got about a 30-minute ride ahead of me. I'm just going to go ahead and dust up this little rail real quick. So I carve one out. I figure it's late at night. I'm getting on the bike. I should probably be sharp. You know, again, that stupid addict rationale. I get down, blast a gram. I put my gear on.
A gram at a time.
I put my gear on.
You know, you have a nose left.
Breathe right strips at night for sleeping. It did some damage. It did some.
My wife uses Breathe Right. She never did any cocaine. So.
Yeah, well, that's good. However, I jump on the bike, I gear up, and I start riding. I'm high as a kite.
Yeah,
absolutely high as a kite. And I'm coming now into Las Vegas from the outskirts, and I'm in the left-hand turn lane. Imagine you've got, you know, a large major street with 3 lanes on this side, 3 lanes on this side, turn lane in the middle. Well, where I was at, I was making a left-hand turn, and there was a double left-hand turn lane. I'm now close to where all the casinos are. I'm in the outside turn lane. I'm the first person up. Now, mind you, adrenaline junkie. I like to go fast.
Right.
Anytime I get on something fast, I'm going to do it. Light turns green. I get on the gas, start to make the turn. As I'm making the turn, I notice on the street that I'm making the left onto, there's a city bus. In Vegas, they have the little carve-outs where city buses can pull over. That way they can allow traffic to keep going.
Yeah.
I never thought anything of it. Do I pull into the middle lane? No. I go into the right lane right next to the bus because I thought it was a good idea. I hammer the accelerator. I'm up to almost 70 miles an hour, like that.
Wow.
Right as I'm coming to the front of the bus, an elderly woman walks right out in front of me.
Wow.
In that moment, the brain slows down and you have a split second to make a decision.
Yeah.
And I had the rationale right then. Do I tuck down, hit her at 70 miles an hour head on and kill her?
Oh, my God.
Or do I push the handlebars, lock up the rear brake, and go down with the bike and slide underneath her and try to, you know, basically cut her out from under her legs and save her? Well, I made the decision to go down underneath the bike and slide underneath her. At that moment, I go underneath her and I go into a curb. My femur goes between the frame of the motorcycle and the concrete curb, snaps my femur in half, compound. My femur comes out of my leg. Then the bike goes up into a light pole. My knee goes between the light pole and the tank of the motorcycle. Then the motorcycle spins around, front tire catches in a drainage ditch. My ankle gets stuck in the rear wheel. The bike flips like this, throws me into traffic.
Holy cow.
With a compounded femur, I'm broken. I get thrown out into the middle of the road. All of a sudden, I'm laying there, ears ringing. I'm laying like this. I've got my helmet on, all my gear, and I just went, oh no, oh no. And I open my visor, and I look down, and there's blood everywhere.
Were you in full leathers?
I was in jeans and leather jacket.
Okay.
I was going to do things I shouldn't have been doing.
Right.
So I've got that attire on. And I look down, and I see from halfway up my thigh, wow, that's the only thing I can see, The rest of my leg is over here on my right. I can't move my right arm. My cell phone is in my pocket, my left pocket of my jacket. I'm laying there, cars are stopping, people are running up. I have a lady help me get my helmet off. You know, my adrenaline is dumping. Not only that, but I'm high on a gram of really good cocaine.
Shock at all?
Not yet. Not yet. Thankfully, which this is not an endorsement of drugs, but thankfully, I had that in my system with the adrenaline.
Yeah.
So that I was still able to be alert. My parents lived in Georgia. My fiance was in Vegas. Only had distant family there. So I was kind of alone-ish. And I look down, I see what's going on. I'm still sharp. I look over to my right after a lady helps me get my helmet off, and I see my foot right here.
Holy cow.
Heel on the outside, toes facing towards me. And here's the drugs. I look down at my leg and I go, well, they make great prosthetics. That's what I thought.
Holy cow.
I didn't know that this lung's collapsed. Having a hard time breathing. Out of nowhere, this woman comes running up, a junkie. She comes running up and starts kicking my leg. Seriously.
Yeah.
Kicking my leg.
And
Kicking my leg that is snapped off.
Right.
I'm screaming. I'm laying on the ground screaming, what are you doing? What are you doing?
Exactly. My gosh.
I'm screaming, and all of a sudden, out of nowhere, comes a motorcycle cop. He runs up, tackles her, and then picks her up and disappears with her. I'm like, what the heck is going on?
Oh, my gosh.
I'm screaming. All of a sudden, ambulances show up. I still have the faculty. I calm down. I grab my phone out. I call my mom, and my mom hates this story because it was the worst phone call she ever got.
Oh, I imagine. Yeah.
I pick up the phone. I call my mom, and I was like, Mom, I need you to come to Vegas. My leg is gone. My leg is gone. I need you to come. Hang up the phone. Then I call my fiance. She's not picking up the phone. I call her parents. I knew that I had maybe a minute to 2 minutes because I've been in a lot of wrecks. I've been stabbed. You know, I've lived my fair share of getting beat up and messed up. So I knew time was limited for me to let people know where I was going because I thought I was going to die.
Right.
So ambulances show up. They get me in and get me to the hospital. And then I get to go through medically supervised detox.
Wow.
So I'm in the hospital for multiple days, recovering, and I'm under medical supervision because I don't think I would have been able to do that without a proper detox.
Absolutely. That's why I was wondering, if you managed to do it all on your own, because that's unheard of, really.
No, God did it for me.
Yeah.
God did it for me. The lady didn't die. She just had a broken hip.
Okay.
So thank God for that. But that was the wake-up call. And then all of a sudden, I was sober when I got released from the hospital.
Right.
My parents
and you
were there.
detoxed.
I was detoxed.
Yeah.
Mostly.
Yeah.
I get out of the hospital. My mom takes me to my grandparents' house. They travel in their RV, so they were gone. My mom then stays to take care of me.
Yeah.
Well, all of a sudden now I'm sober. I can't walk. I'm in a wheelchair. I'm in the most pain I've ever felt my entire life.
Right.
I'm coming off of dope. I'm just an absolute wreck. Just an absolute wreck. And I remember I looked in the mirror when I was finally able to get out of bed, and I saw myself sober, and I wept.
Yeah. I was going to ask you about that because you had a fiance. What kind of mess was she?
She was in a mess too.
Yeah.
She knew something was going on, but she just didn't
Was she a
know
casual
what.
user or she?
No, not at all. I hid it from her.
How could you hide it?
I was real sneaky, as
Really?
addicts can be.
But you're 130 pounds. So she met you at 130?
No.
Oh.
I was 150.
Okay.
I was 150. So I was 25 pounds less.
Yeah.
I was a scrawny guy. I'm still a scrawny guy.
Yeah.
But yeah, I hid it from her. And she knew.
Wow.
She knew something was going on. She just couldn't put her finger on it. And I'd also put some distance between her and I.
Yeah.
And so at that point, now my mom's taking care of me. I'm physically broken. I'm emotionally broken. I'm spiritually broken.
Right. Perfect place for God to come in.
I'm laying in bed one night and my mom comes in and she says, "Do you want to talk?" I said, "Yeah." And I broke down. I told her I was addicted to cocaine. I told her that I'd basically ruined my life. I told her about my prayer. And she just loved on me.
Yeah.
A couple weeks later, when I was able to be transported, she took me to where my brother was going to ministry school out in Northern California. And carted me up there, made a bed out of a rental van in the back, all plush for me to lay in. You know, I'm still an absolute mess, but I can at least ride around in the wheelchair for maybe 20 minutes before I have to get elevated. And she takes me up to Northern California, and we spend some time doing some counseling with some people up there, and I just sit in church for a few days in the hotel room. And I said, "Okay, God, I'm back. I'm back. I've made this turn.
And I'm yours.
I'm yours."
Yeah.
But at the same time, I was still angry. I felt like I was being punished. I didn't yet know that event was sent by him to save me.
Yeah. So how long after you were clean before the beast started chirping again?
Oh man, the beast was chirping the whole time.
Okay.
I mean,
so even after all of that,
oh yeah,
your brain is still going, we can get through.
Oh, absolutely.
You need me to get through.
Yeah, I mean, even after, you know, mine wasn't this story that, you know, I give my life back to Christ and then all of a sudden I'm miraculously delivered.
Right.
You know,
right.
Everything disappears. I no longer have any desires.
Yeah, that's
you know,
what I tell people. I didn't have the road to Damascus thing. You know, it was a long search, and then finally the commitment, and then I had a honeymoon period, and then life. You know, the sinful part of me started taking hold and things. You know, so it's you're 18 years.
18 years. The beast stopped probably 15 years ago, but it took 4 or 5 years.
Yeah, they say that 2 years to rewire your brain.
Yeah.
Before you know, and of sobriety. And for me, it was 6-7 years of the old nature. I was an angry, bitter, cynical human being. And it was the commitment to Christ that changed all that part of me. But I understand that, where it's amazing to me how there are personalities that if something like that happened to, they would turn their back on God and go, you know, how could you let that happen to me? I'm one of yours, you know, you know. And then there's people like, when you get distance from it, you go, holy cow, what a gift.
It was.
You know?
It was.
Yeah. It's, I wouldn't want to do it again. I hope I don't ever get to the point in my life where I need that kind of wake-up call. But it's an amazing recognition of God's love for us. To let us experience that kind of pain.
Yeah,
you know?
It really is. I thank him for it all the time. And I said, you know, if that was the only way to get out, I would do it over and over and over again. Knowing what I know now.
To be free from that.
Yeah, to be free from that. And so, you know, it took a while for the beast to go away. I was still I was still partying on and off.
Yeah.
I was trying to go to church and trying to party at the same time. That didn't work out real well.
No.
So eventually you get it to a point to where you have to make a decision.
Right.
And it's, okay, this isn't working. I can't be half in and half out at the same time. Okay, I've already discovered that when you decide to take a new path, that everything from the former doesn't just magically go away. You actually have to do the work.
Well, that's it. Yeah. I always asked when I would sponsor people. I don't do that much anymore because I travel so much. My first question was, what length are you willing to go? And they look at me like, what? And I go, you just can't show up at a meeting and all of a sudden you're sober. I mean, you can quit drinking. You'll still be a miserable SOB. You'll be a pain to be around. You'll still be the same jerk you were when you were drinking. Yeah. You just won't get pulled over and arrested for DUI. So what length are you willing to go to do the work? Because basically it'll come down to the wounds that we all carry with us. And when you start healing those wounds, the need to medicate isn't as strong. So all of your old ties, I had friends that this is the kind of friends I had. The first time I quit drinking, they took a pool, a bet on how long I would make it. And nobody had more than 3 days. So when I made 9 months, then there was the argument about the technicality of it. You're still using cocaine, so you're still using it. I go, yeah, but I'm not drinking. And when do I get my piece of this pie that you guys were betting and all of that? But those were the friends I had. You're not going to make it, And so here you are, you're involved in, if the mafia existed, these mob people and stuff, usually it's hard to get out. Because of the information you hold. They don't want you out. They don't want you clean. They certainly don't want you getting a conscience and coming clean on that, So
unless you come close to death.
They understood then. Did any of them show up at your bedside and wish you goodwill?
Yeah.
And that's good to hear.
They did. If they existed.
If they existed.
They did.
Yeah, so that was when, in the 90s?
No, this was
80s?
This was 2006.
God,
yeah, I'm only 41.
I'm so freaking old, man. I really am. My God, you're right. I mean, to do the time frame on this, because my whole head is in the 80s. I mean, that's So I figured I'll add 7. So 90s. No, you weren't even born. You're 41, so you were born in 87,
83.
83. Yeah, I can't do math. Actually, you're my son's age.
Okay,
he was born in 83.
Yeah.
So wow.
Oh, yeah.
So anyway, you get here really now. You want to function. So you got a business. What was about automobile restoration? Were you just good at that, or did you?
Yeah, that was.
Did you apprentice?
That was always my craft. That was my craft. Was painting. I did a lot of custom stuff. I've always loved trying to make things perfect and as good as they can, make them as beautiful as humanly possible. And so I spent 15 years developing that craft. And again, the addict mindset is I've just got to keep going as far as I can go. Right. And so I learned how to channel it into something that produced value.
Yeah.
Right. I said, okay, I can take these weird tendencies that I have, and instead of viewing them as something that can only produce negative, right. What if I take that and put it into something that can build and create beauty and goodness?
Well, that's it. What a testament, a gift to God, because God loves aesthetics and He loves beauty.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, look around in nature.
Yeah,
what He's created. So it makes perfect sense.
Yeah,
that He would use the vessel, you, and those skills to make something beautiful. What's the best restoration you ever did? If you had to put a picture up on the wall, what would, other than what God did for you, if you put the picture in the picture, I mean, that restoration is just mind-boggling. I know.
Yeah, it is. It's tough because we work on supercars, hypercars. We work on really high-dollar classic Porsches, and then we also fix Hyundais. But, because we're a collision shop and refinishing and high polishing, all of that stuff. But I did a believe it's a 1953 Porsche 356.
Oh, wow.
And the roof was crushed. My friend that has a fab shop, did all the metal work. And then the cars generally come to me, these vintage 911s and 356s come to me to do all the finish work. So all the body work, all the painting, all the polishing to make the cars go from metal to an actual beautiful finished product that's going to sit in a museum or be in a show or just be someone's driver. But we did one, and I don't know how many hundreds and hundreds of hours I had in this car.
Yeah.
But it was one of the most beautiful things I've ever done. And it's a tie between that and we had a client who is a big global transport company that goes way back to the early 1900s when fuel transport and liquid transport became a thing. They got my name from someone. They had this old tanker truck that carried unleaded fuel in Great Britain that needed to be restored. And they called all over and people said, no, we can't do it. And several folks that they called gave them my name. And I'm like, why did they give them my name? I don't know anything about this stuff, you know? Like, I don't know anything about it.
Right. But you didn't say that when they called, did you?
No, absolutely
I know
not.
nothing about this.
Absolutely
not. That's the
not.
first rule of success.
Yeah,
I can do that.
No,
Then
I can do it.
And then you figure out how to do it.
When they drop it off, like, do you know what to do? No, I don't have a clue. But I'm going to figure it out, and I know pieces and parts, so I'll figure out how to put the whole puzzle together.
Wow.
So they called, looked at it, and it was a job that required every skill that I've developed over, I'm going to say 30 years, because I started developing some of these skills when I was a kid.
Really?
But it required me to be at the absolute sharpest I could be at each skill to make this restoration happen. And the funny story about it is this tanker truck was the first fuel tanker to deliver fuel oil to Buckingham Palace
Really?
in the 40s.
Wow.
And so this served the Royal British Fleet.
And they brought it over from there?
It had traveled around, and this company had finally found it. They were looking for this truck forever, and they finally found it.
Oh, wow.
And so it had every aspect of refinishing that you could do, sculpting, shaping. I also am a gold gilder, so that means hand lettering gold, actually 23 karat gold.
Wow.
And doing hand lettering, I had to restore the royal crests on the doors. I had to hand paint them. I had to redo all the gold leaf. I had to machine parts. I had to figure out how to build an interior for the vehicle.
Well, obviously, nobody asked you what this costs. I mean, if you have to ask, you probably don't have the money.
If you have a budget or a time frame, you don't have any business messing with it.
No.
You just don't. But
so where is it now? Is it in a museum or is it functioning?
It's actually in one of their plants, one of their newest plants in Mexico.
Oh,
and it's on display in the showroom as one of the first fuel tankers. And so that was probably my most favorite. And it's strange because it's not what I normally do.
Well, plus you learn some skills then. You know, if you have a tanker, I think Josh is your man. You might be in a small group of people that can actually restore these things.
I would actually do it again now that I know how to price it.
Oh, yeah, see.
Now that
you probably got no idea how many hours it would take.
No, I think I was just shy of 1,000 hours.
Yeah.
Just shy of 1,000 hours in that one. But I love that type of work because it allows...
To put that in perspective, folks, at a 40-hour week, that's a half a year. So
to be focused on one single mission.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was probably the pinnacle. And like I said, you know, there's Lamborghinis, there's Ferraris, McLarens, there's all kinds of stuff. But
my grandson,
that was my favorite.
we have to bring my grandson to your shop.
Oh, I would love it.
He's a Lamborghini freak, and we don't know what he's going to do with his life. But it's got to be around cars, because ever since he was able to like stand up and talk, it's been cars. And it's so funny now because we'll be driving down the road. And Tammy will go, look, Caden, a Lamborghini. He goes, it's a McLaren, Mimi. You know, I took him to the Lamborghini show up here in Franklin, Brentwood, and I said, I walked in, I go, I can't buy one of these. I just want my grandson to see. He goes, come on, we get that a lot.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's good because the trades are diminishing and there's a high value for the trades.
Yeah.
And there's not a lot of people coming into it that know how to work with their hands.
Well, that's something that AI will never be able to. AI may be able to tell you how to cut that 1,000 hours to 800, you know, if you didn't know what you were doing. You could,
yeah,
you know,
maybe. But
Yeah.
there's no piece of technology, no piece of equipment that can ever replace what we do.
Right.
You know, so there's some comfort in that.
Yeah. And that's why I'm trying to get my oldest now. He's just got out of a rehab. And going to live his life sober. So, you know, the real work begins. Now, what do you do with your life?
Yeah.
Because every addict knows this, that idle hands are the devil's plaything. So you got to keep your mind occupied. Most of us are high-functioning, active minds. For me, I just dove into golf, which was really stupid. You know, Tammy, my wife, always says on April 15th, remind me again how much money you made playing golf last year. You know, not a nickel, baby, not a nickel, you know. And it was just a very expensive way to salve my wounds. But if you can channel it into something like and then to be able to go back and do what you got away from is a real blessing, because sometimes we get older and we can't do what we were able to do when we were younger, you know. So I want to get back to to rifling then, since you weren't in the military, and you just kind of, how often do you shoot? How do you, I mean, obviously you've never killed another human being.
No.
You know, so I can't ask you what the difference is between because my son at one point, we were eating dinner, he was going to go into the military. He's like 15 or 16. And I said, when you get out of high school. So anyway, I said, what are you going to do? He said, I want to be a sniper. And knowing my son, who used to pick up dead, wounded birds off the sidewalk and nurse them to health, I said, so you can put another human being's head into the crosshairs, pull the trigger, and just watch their head dissipate. He goes, no.
I've got a lot of friends that are snipers.
Yeah. And I said, then what do you think a sniper? He's talking about video games and stuff. And so no, when he got in, he worked on helicopters. But the breath, I shoot at the range with a handgun. I'm not very good. I'm ready to hire an instructor because I want to get good.
Yeah.
You know, so when it comes to breathing, is it a learned behavior? Did it come natural? Because again, you're not shooting at a live target, so your heart rate is probably a little calmer than it would be if you were sniping. And then all the technical stuff, so that works in a head like yours with wind and stuff. Do you do your own calculations, or is that something that you had to learn? Or?
For wind, yeah, you learn wind holds and calculations for each bullet with velocity, etc. But then you have to learn how to read the wind.
Right.
So you have to be able to look downrange. You have to be able to take observations, whether it's, foliage, whether it's grass on the ground or fog or mirage. You have to be able to identify where the wind is coming from and at what speed that wind is traveling at so that you can compensate. And then the thing with competition, which we have a lot of military guys come out to a lot of competitions because it's also good practice, and it presents scenarios to where you have to engage multiple targets at various distances from various positions within 90 seconds.
Oh, wow.
So you don't have time to just sit there all day and take shots and see what the wind is doing for how to compensate for that.
Do they have gadgets or devices?
Yeah, there's some gadgets, but gadgets only tell you what the wind is doing right here, which is rarely what the wind is doing where it
100
matters.
yards, 200 yards. What's the longest shot
in
competition?
The longest shot in competition, it depends. So the circuits that I ran in for a very long time, probably the longest shot's going to be about 1,800 yards, a little past a mile.
Wow.
And that's a far shot. That's like a bonus stage. The
It's
average,
mind-boggling to me.
the average is, 400 yards to 1,200 yards. So,
That's
out to
still-
3/4 of a mile. And you're having to do it quickly.
Yeah.
You don't have time. You're having to take your rifle and your gear and get up and move from position to position, looking down range.
That's bolt action.
What's that?
The gun is bolt action.
Yeah, they're bolt action guns.
Yeah. What shell?
I shoot, if I'm shooting like a sniper style competition, I have to shoot a NATO caliber, which is either 308 or 223. But the majority of the competitions I shoot a custom caliber, which is a 6x47 Lapua. You can't buy it. You have to make it.
I was going to ask you if you made your own.
Yeah, you have to make it. And it's a hot rod of a cartridge. I've been shooting it for a very long time, and everybody tries to get me to move. And I said, no, I know this round.
Right.
I load all my ammunition, develop all of that stuff on my own, and I actually teach guys how to do that as well.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's very high-paced. Your brain has to be functioning really quick, and it's also mind and body because so much of long-range shooting, you have your actual system.
Right.
Your system has to be dialed, but then the other part is the flawed human being because the system's not flawed.
Right.
The human being is flawed. So your breath, how you mount up to the rifle,
Right, that's what I was gonna talk about was the
how
breath.
tight. It's very much like golf.
Well, that's
and
what
your
that-
swing, your
It's funny.
grip.
I didn't want to say that because Tammy, if she saw this, would go, everything's golf to you. But that's exactly what I was thinking.
Yes.
Because when I got into competition in golf, I did not have the same golf swing. My hands were tight. My arms were tight. My back was tight. I mean, everything was tight. And I could not breathe my way out of it. And that's what I learned. I have an issue because I would stand behind the ball and I couldn't take a deep breath. They would tell you, breathe deep before you go and hit your shot. I couldn't take a deep breath. It got caught up in here all the time. And you got to hit. I mean, you can't stand there for 3 minutes while your heart rate goes down.
Did you eventually get over that?
Not at all.
Really?
I got over it enough to be able to qualify for the tournaments. But
Okay.
when I got in the tournaments, it would all come back.
Yeah.
And again, you'll know this because of competitions. The more you do them, the more relaxed you are in competitions. I just didn't have enough to play in. I play in 2 a year, maybe.
Yeah.
You
I
know?
mean, it
And
eventually.
to these kids you were competing against, they're just going to another tournament next week.
Yeah.
So every week, when you're under that kind of pressure, you just learn to deal with it.
Yeah.
But when you do it twice a year and months apart,
It's always new.
and it was fascinating to me because you'd get, I tried to qualify for state AMs, I think 6 or 8 times. So that's 6 or 8 years because it's one a year before I finally. I remember standing on the 18th tee. All I had to do was bogey the last hole and I'm in. And I barely got my club on the ball, but I got it out there and I managed to get the ball somewhere near the, and when I finished, I made the bogey, and I remember crying in my car. And it wasn't because I'm in the tournament. It was because I dealt with the pressure
Yeah.
of the moment and I was still able to pull it off because in other times I wouldn't have, And so shooting is the same kind of tension and you work, and again, in your own head,
Yeah. And it's constantly stretching you, especially when you get in, it's always changing. It's always evolving. Every day is not the same. It's always different. So there's always a new challenge to face. In each competition that you go to, there may be similarities, but there's no one, specific thing that's always the same conditions, same type of targets. There's some of that like qualifying things, but it's always different. It's always changing.
Right.
And for me, it kept my mind active.
See, again, I hate to say the golf, but that's the same thing. With the ball sitting in the grass, you can get a jumper that goes 20 yards farther. You got to kind of figure out if it's going to, and it's almost subconscious after all these years. On a slope, the ball's going to go that way. So how much is it going to go that way? Based on, then you got wind, and you're right, it does. It does keep your mind occupied. So, are you married?
No.
No. So, if somebody had a high function,
married.
if someone had a kid. That was just really active. And rather than sticking them in front of a video game every day of their life, learning to shoot long range would be a great, again, it's expensive. It's not an easy hobby to support.
Mm-hmm.
But would you recommend that, and at what age? Or, I mean, again, I'm thinking in terms of my grandson who's 9, to get him into something healthy or ish, then just sitting and
Yeah, I would recommend that they get involved in like a rimfire league, which is 22s. You know, and there's a lot of the competitions that are super active, a lot of fun with 22s that you'll see adults out there shooting, and all the way down to kids that are, 8, 9, 10 years old that are out there.
Really?
Yeah. And so it's a lot of fun because it's inexpensive to get into. Now, don't get me wrong, it can be just as expensive as the long range stuff because we're humans and we have to take everything to the nth degree,
Exactly.
But yeah, just getting them active. And I think especially for boys, we all have this side that God built within us to be protectors,
Right.
to be aggressors, to defend, right?
Right.
And so giving boys an outlet to be aggressive, to be able to master an art that, let's just be real, can be offensive or defensive, but teaching them the respect within that, it's also empowering because it's, I'm not helpless, and as long as you're a good parent and you're not raising a psycho,
Right.
It can be really good for them.
Yeah, I love that. And what is the most unusual place you've, again, you weren't in war, so do they put you in like odd different things just to spice it?
Yes.
Again, this is totally
Yes.
foreign. Oh, okay.
Yes. Yeah.
Good. Then I'm not an idiot.
Yeah.
I can hear my wife going, "You're an idiot."
There's
for asking a stupid question.
And for all my guys that I shoot with, I know what I'm about to say is, you may get mad at me, but let's just be real. They're called sniper style events or matches to where they're more real world based scenarios.
If I had a relative and I just propped them up, could you put them out for me? It's a joke. Don't email me.
The coolest place was we got to go to a retired nuclear reactor plant in Barnwell, South Carolina.
See, that's what I was talking about.
Yes. So it's a 3-day event. You have to carry all of your gear. You're not given target descriptions or any details about the situations that you have to compete in. We call them stages. Everything is blind, meaning you're not allowed to walk up and see what you're about to do. You're told what you're going to do right before you go and do it.
Oh, my God.
And you have to figure it out. So it's at a decommissioned nuclear plant that never went active. And the U.S. government bought it a long time ago to turn into a training center. And then some other guys, I think a baseball guy bought it. But it's a training center. And there's towers. I mean, think of Cold War era nuclear facility, and we're getting to run around that playing like commandos, shooting high-powered rifles.
Did you have a Geiger
towers.
counter with you, just in case there was some residual?
No.
It was never activated, so there was
no. It never went active.
Misconception about shooters that you wish went away. I mean, is there a stereotype?
That they're just a bunch of psycho alpha males running around that want to hurt people and don't have any care for anyone else in the world.
Really?
It's so not true.
I know. Well, that's why that never even entered my mind.
Yeah, or they think that, these people with proclivity to violence. What are you talking about? That's absurd.
No, like you said, it can be offensive or defensive.
Yeah.
Every time I see them in a movie, I just tell my wife, I go, my God, I wish I could do that. And not to take another life, but just to be able to sit 500 yards away from someone and hit it. You know? But those are the most, in those movies you see, and obviously in war, those are the most frightening people out there because you can't see them and they're hitting everything they're shooting at.
Yeah. Yeah.
And by the way, who started this with a gun? Will you explain this to me? I'm not adept, but I'm not inept. But this kind of makes no sense.
I don't know.
The sideways shoot,
I've actually done that a couple times in competition just to be funny.
But you can hit what you're shooting, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. I can't. I can't hit when I'm doing the thing. So I'm thinking of taking some instruction from you. So
You know that saying that a harmless man is not a peaceful man?
I never
You
heard
haven't
that.
heard that?
No.
I'll probably butcher it.
Oh.
But it's, a peaceful man is not a harmless man.
Right.
A peaceful man is a man capable of great violence, but chooses
Right.
peace. What good are you? And in my opinion, we have to have men that are capable of such, because you do have to protect. But
Absolutely.
it also
I've gotten applause in my show where I've said, quit coddling the boys. We need warriors.
Yes, we do. We do.
And this nonsense that I used to do a bit about shooting. They kicked a kid out of kindergarten because he was shooting his index finger, and I made fun of that. And that went viral because I took both sides, but no, we need warriors.
But warriors have a mission, though.
Absolutely. And if you
there's
don't,
a calling.
But we used to, in America, that was part of grade school, was gun instruction. We would teach the kids how to shoot and hold and handle firearms.
Yeah.
And oddly enough, there were no school shootings back then. And don't email me, about your thoughts on that. But it just coincidentally, I don't know. But all I know is we were better equipped because we had education for our young people.
This is true.
On how to handle them. And
there was respect. Now there's so much fear around it.
Right.
And I understand that, it is a firearm, et cetera. But if you come from a land that doesn't have cars and you see cars, you have this giant machine that can just run over people at will, it's terrifying. But once you figure out how the car works, once you figure out that the people that are on the road are obeying the lines, and people are going to actually look out for themselves and others, just as the same for, the majority of firearm owners, not the outliers, but when you're carrying a firearm, as I do, I am respectful, peaceful, and I don't look for a fight. And I hope that if anything ever were to come to that God help me that I don't ever have to do that.
Right, exactly. Yeah, exactly. That's our pastor did a sermon on the devil. It's like a roaring lion. He explained that in nature, the loudest lions are usually the oldest and the weakest. And as they get weaker and older, they roar louder to frighten the younger ones. And eventually the young ones come in and take over the pride. But in culture, the loudest mouths are the ones that don't bother me. It was always the quiet ones.
Same here.
It's like my son had he did Ishnaru in high school for 4 years, I think. And I went to his instructor after a couple years with my son, and I said, "You have permission to discipline my son." This guy could literally rip your heart out with his bare hands. He was one of the quietest, gentlest, Bible-believing humans I've ever met. But you just knew you did not want to get on the wrong side of this man, And to me, that's where the strength comes in the control. And, I think of Chihuahuas, they're the loudest, yappiest things, and you can punt them across the room, know. So knowing the skills you have, my gosh, do you mentor as well as instruct?
Yeah, I'm not mentoring
because I'm
anyone
sure there's
right
some
now.
Young boys that if they got around you could learn a lot.
Yeah, I have. That was actually what I did with part of a nonprofit that I was working with for many years. And we had a lot of youth come in, and not only training, actual high-level shooters and competitors, but actually working with normal people and young men, kids.
Yeah.
I love working with kids because a lot of people don't have patience for them. I do.
Yeah.
And so I've mentored a couple young men that have come up, and now they're on their own shooting and having a blast and doing well. They're respectful. They're good. They're turning into good men.
Man, that's great.
And so I've worked with a lot of young people, and it brings a lot of joy to work with people and mentor these young guys. And I've done the same with guys that are younger in their 20s and worked with them. And sometimes these guys just need somebody to be with them and to just help point them.
Well, also, like you said, God puts in us this inherently to provide and protect. And if you've never had a male around you that provides and protects, you have this thing inside of you that feels foreign. You don't know where to channel it. And we live in a culture now that just plonks most kids in front of a TV or a video game. And, I'm reading a book. As a matter of fact, I'm going to have Carolyn reach out to the author to see if we can get him on. But it's about what these devices do to young minds. And which is why we're so anxious, and which is why we're so on edge all the time. I grew up in the 60s. We played outside all day, every day. That's what we did. I can't think of outside of winter is when I watched television. But when that weather warmed up, I was playing baseball, I was playing, and then the winter gave way to football and basketball. And we were always doing something. I wish I had some guidance. My dad wasn't around that much. And what I saw was an angry display of. But my father, in hindsight, I always felt safe when I was around him.
Mm-hmm.
He was a great protector, and nobody would harm his family. Nobody, But I think we're losing that with our young men. And I think what you're doing, especially if you can bring them outside and then to shoot and train, like you said, and respect. They learn to respect the instrument they're using.
Yeah,
is huge. And good on you for that. Is there a way? Boy. What do you want students to remember after a lesson, long after? I mean, how often do they come? Once a week, once a month? And where do they practice? I mean, do they have to go to your range?
Well, I go to a private range.
Yeah.
It's a membership-only range. We generally have to go out there, or, if they're the type that has a farm, we can go out to their range. I would love at some point to have some land to be able to, to be able to do this type of mentorship, to be able to do this type of training at. But land is very expensive, and especially to be able to shoot long range, that's one of those things that's...
When you start training, what do you start them at?
I start them at the fundamentals.
Yeah.
Trigger press, sight picture, breathing, and how to mount the rifle.
Okay.
That's the start. Everyone wants to go to the to the furthest degree. I want to make this crazy shot in super high winds. And I'm saying, whoa, hang on. We'll do some of that. We'll do some of that, but we need to train up these fundamentals first, because if you can't learn these fundamentals, then we're not going to get there. But I don't beat them over the head with fundamentals. I make it fun.
Right.
And we do little challenges, and we do things to where they're developing the skill, but they're not getting bored.
That's the important thing.
Yeah. And one of the things that is different from my style, from a lot of other instructors, is I view the person holistically. Right, because every person has a different body. They move differently. They think differently, and so you really have to be able to understand the individual that you're working with and test them in different areas to be able to know how to instruct them best. Because my goal is not just to take someone's money and say, "Oh, I taught you some skills." No, I want to make them effective.
Right.
I want to make them effective. And
if they're effective, it'll be fun.
Yes.
If you see results, it'll be fun.
And then they'll stick with it.
Right.
And so it requires a different approach to do so.
At the risk of doing another golf analogy, but if I was to teach golf, it would start at the hole. And you'd learn to make 1-foot putts. And when you get comfortable with that, you go back to 3 feet, 6 feet back off the green. 10 or 15 yards, and you would learn and get adept at all of that. And then again, you're not frustrating yourself, because it's a very difficult game.
Mm-hmm.
So if I was at your range and I was shooting 300-yard targets and missing every one of them, I would get frustrated and quit.
Yeah, well, I wouldn't let you stay there. We'd move back to 100.
I love that. Back to 100. That's 300 feet. That's a football field. When I go to the gun range with my handgun, my big target is 10 yards or 30 feet, and that's at the end. I see the disbursement is a little different than when it's from 15 feet.
I mean, if at 10 yards you can get them all in alpha zone here, that's
No,
good.
I'm not there yet. I would be hitting the civilians. It's so funny. Until I got actually shooting at the range, I started probably 2-3 years ago in earnest.
Mm-hmm.
And until I started doing that, I'd see these movies where a guy would miss from 10 feet, and I'd go, oh, come on. Yeah. Well, the first target I put out was 5 yards out, which was 15 feet, and I was all over that. I was hitting the paper, but nowhere near. Yeah, and then some guy came over. He goes, you might want to hold it with 2 hands. I go, oh, really? You don't do this? You don't do this? Yeah, so, man, I'm telling you, Josh, this has been really good. Carolyn told me I would enjoy this. What is your last name, by the way?
Lemon, just like the fruit, L-E-M-O-N.
Josh Lemon. Where is your body shop, your restoration center is in Columbia?
Yeah, it's in Columbia, Tennessee. It's called Colorcraft Auto Refinishers. And we've been in business for 5.5 years. It's a small company that I've been working on building and going through the pains, as every entrepreneur knows,
Yes.
of building and suffering, in the short term for hopefully a long-term game. But yeah, we do regular collision stuff.
You have a website?
We do. It's colorcraftauto.com. We're also on Instagram.
We'll have that in the notes at the end.
Yeah, we're also on Instagram. And one of the things that makes us different than a lot of other shops is, we demystify the whole process. And we just provide a different level of care. And you're also taking your car to people who fix some of the highest end cars in the world.
Yeah.
To have regular services done. So we have a lot to offer, and we have a small team that really cares. And my father actually runs my office for me.
How cool was that?
And so it's great. I work with my dad, and we have a great relationship. But I've got
Did you always
great
have a good
people.
relationship with your dad?
No.
Okay.
No.
Like most fathers and sons.
Yeah, and I was a lot. So I frustrated him, and we did not get along. But now we're super close.
Man, as a father, that would mean so much to me to having my son go through rehab. He showed me his trauma book he wrote out, and I finished reading it and I handed it to him. He goes, any thoughts? I go, nothing I'm going to argue with. You were right. You were abandoned.
Mm-hmm.
And so to be able to spend that time with your dad at this point in life is, I can tell you as a father, that is so huge, man. And I think that's wonderful and good on you. That's a credit to your relationship with Christ, I'm sure.
Mm-hmm.
You get the vertical one right.
Everything else
Seems to fall into
up.
place. And it's amazing when God opens our hearts to the kind of men we were or are. I heard a saying, we need to get downwind from ourselves, and when you get downwind and you realize what a handful you've been, and to go back and ask the people in your life for grace, please extend me some grace, please forgive me, for everything. And when they do, that relationship is completely restored.
Yeah.
Through Christ. The world can't restore that. They really can't.
There's nothing the world can offer.
No.
It's bleak.
And that. So anyway, I guess if I wanted to learn more, what's the next best step would be to go to your website.
Yeah.
Now, as far as the shooting, do you have a separate website?
No, I don't have that because I've privately contracted for a long time. But actually, Carolyn can link my email for that. And then I'm also on Instagram for the shooting type stuff, which shows, kind of my shooting career.
Yeah.
And so she can link that. That's how a lot of people connect. But yeah.
And where's the range at?
Chapel Hill. It's called Strategic Edge.
Strategic Edge. Okay.
Strategic Edge. It's a great place, great people, but it's a phenomenal facility.
Well, you let me know if I become gum on your shoe, because I have a feeling I'm going to be in touch.
I would enjoy it.
I have a son that maybe this would be interesting enough for him to set aside some of the animus he has towards me. We still speak occasionally, but we've never found anything that we can do together that doesn't cause problems. This might be something that would be just wonderful to go out and shoot with my grandson and my son.
Yeah.
And just start the lessons and the learning, and and it could be something we could do. You do it all year?
Yeah, generally all year. This year I've slowed down quite a bit just to focus on business, and life sometimes throws curveballs and you got to deal with it.
Right.
And so sometimes you have to reprioritize temporarily. But normally I'm shooting 3 days a week.
Oh, okay. Wow.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I got to tell you, Josh Lemon, this was a wonder. She told me it would be. And I'm learning to trust her. I really am. Thank you for coming in. And I didn't even get into your tats. I don't even know. Are there any you regret?
There are. There's some regret.
Yeah.
Occasionally I have to do some explaining. Especially being in the church.
What you were in at the time, please.
Yeah, and some of those things. And I just have to say, look, man, if your past was colored all over you,
well, that's
you would have to deal
the
with
Ben Fuller
same.
song, Black Sheep, talks about covering it up with Rebels Inc., covering all that hurt up with Rebels Inc.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well, that's what a lot of it is.
And also a good reminder, Sometimes we forget our past, and that's to our detriment.
That is one of those things that I try to tell everyone that comes from that. And I think it's applicable for all of us. Do not forget.
No.
Do not forget.
That's what my love and laughter tour is. The message will be to remember the bride of your youth. So ladies, bring your husbands out to Love and Laughter, because I will give them a good message on how to remember what they felt the first time they laid eyes on you and how important that is. So anyway, Josh Lemon, thank you, man.
Thank you. It was
Thank
a
you
pleasure.
enough, man. It really was. I hope that we can stay in touch.
Yeah, we definitely will.
Blessings. And you can catch me out on the road, and go to jeffallencomedy.com. Subscribe. Please subscribe. Pass this on. There's a lot in here, I know, but my gosh, this is one of my favorites that I've done. So anyway, we'll see you out on the road. God bless you.